guys, Aussie Marky with you again, and today we're looking at a knife from the Ontario Knife Company. As you can see on screen there, pretty obvious what it is. It's a Gen II SP50, and this is one of the Spec Plus line of knives put out by Ontario. Really good range of knives. If you're into the outdoors, it's pretty much a design, size there for pretty much everyone in that range of knives. They're all catalogued on their website. If you haven't been over there to have a look, there's some good knife porn over there. Go and check it out. This knife primarily, I guess, is designed as a survival blade. It certainly would make an excellent camp knife, just general large outdoors utility type blade. If you're in any kind of a situation where you had to rely on your knife, I think you'd be fairly well equipped to have one of these things. The steel on the blade, I think all the Spec Plus Gen II knives are on the same steel these days. It's 5160, it's a high carbon steel, so of course they do need a little bit of maintenance. They will rust, not a stainless steel. It's a full flat ground, which is excellent. As you can see there, it's a coated blade. Drop point shape. The blade length on this knife is 9 3/8 of an inch. In the metric system, which we use where I live, that comes out to 239 millimeters. And I should mention the blade steel on this one, at least back up here on the spine before it of course gets ground away on that full flat grind, it's a 1/4 of an inch thick. So it's a pretty good slab of metal in there. Overall length for the knife, 14 5/8 of an inch, or 370 millimeters. So she's a fair size knife, this one. The handle material is Kraton. It's really nice, great feel, just a little bit soft, a little bit of give, nice and grippy, and it's very well shaped and contoured. And I can't say enough good things about the handle on these things. It's just nice to use, nice to hold, and no hot spots or anything like that. I'll probably, just at this point, we've got most of the specs out of the way, thank heavens, because geez, don't we hate going through specs. I'll just roll in a couple of other Ontario knives just to give you a size comparison. And as you can probably realise, these are all my knives. I'm becoming a little bit of a fan of the Ontario fixed blade knives, mainly because they're basically good knives and the value is really quite good on them. So at the top of the screen there we've got the very well known Rat 7, great knife, micarta scales. I'm not going to do a review on that one, but you can see the SP50 makes it look actually kind of small. The one at the bottom of the screen, I have reviewed that knife, and it's on my channel here somewhere. That's the SP43, which has got an 8-inch blade. So it's a substantially small knife. The differences too with the SP43 compared to the 50 is that the SP43 doesn't run quite the same thickness of blade, and it's obviously, as mentioned, shorter, so it's considerably lighter than the SP50. The SP43 kind of gets thrown in my pack a lot more than the larger knife. Just it's my sort of contingency in case I need it sort of knife. It's just less weight, less bulk to cart around. So anyway, that's just a size comparison, and you can see that the 50 also is a much broader knife. There's a lot more steel there. I don't think the 50 is that much more expensive than the 43, so if you're really looking to just buy X amount of steel for your money, the 50 is probably good for that alone. Alright, we'll pull these ones back out because we're not actually reviewing them, but just bring them in for a look. Okay, I mentioned the fact the SP50 is quite a bit heavier than the SP43. Now the weight on the SP50 is 16.6 ounces. This is just the knife, or 472 grams. If you roll the sheath in, which we'll get to talk about there, that's the sheath, but I'll leave that to one side just for the moment. The knife with the sheath comes in at 23.1 ounces, or 651 grams. So there is a fair bit of weight in this thing. So, alright, let's get into it. We'll pull it up out of there, we'll move those little props to one side, and we'll do a close-up of the blade for you there. As you can see, quite a nice sort of rippled finish there to protect the steel. Nice edge on it. We come along there, we've got the markings you saw at the front of the video on that side. We've got Kraton handle. You've got your rivet in the back. Now, it hasn't got an exposed tang at the rear, but I think you'll find that the tang would run back and of course be held on by that rivet. If we turn the knife over on the other side, we've got the 5160, which tells you the blade steel, and it's telling you there that it's the Ontario Knife Company, USA. I do believe that these are made in the United States. I may be wrong about that. Someone will no doubt chime in and correct me in the comments if I am. Very front heavy knife. So I've got to move it away. It's very hard to get it into the shot. Sorry about that. So it's quite, as you'd expect, a front heavy knife. Balance point on it is, actually it's not too bad. It's around about there. It's a little further back than I thought it might be. And that's not bad, because really a knife of this sort of thickness, and I'll just show you again against the SP43, you can see that it's considerably thicker. and it's considerably heavier. So this is undoubtedly going to be a heavier duty knife if you're doing things like wood splitting, brush clearing, using it as I often do with some of my bigger knives as a smaller shedding. This forward weight, this thickness is really going to make your life that little bit easier by doing that work for you. You're going to get a lot more kinetic energy on the blade. As I mentioned, handle, basically there's nothing bad to say about it. I've got fairly large hands, and as you can see there, I've got 4 fingers there, and I've still got a little room at the back, and I kind of like that. You get that room to move around the handle, and the little piece at the back there locks in really nicely. So if I'm looking to get that bit of extra length and swing on the blade, I can come right back there and be confident the blade's not going to fly out on me. So I really like that. No jimping. Why? Well, you don't need it, quite frankly. It's fine just as it is. There's no guard on top on this one, like the other knife the little 43 has, but it works fine. There's ergonomically, I don't have any problems with this knife whatsoever. There's nothing to complain about with that at all. I'll put it down there, and we'll talk a bit more about what we're going to talk about. How about the sheath? Sheaths are always something, as most of you guys know, watch my videos, I'm obsessive with. I firmly believe that the sheath is part of the whole knife as a package. It's no good having a great knife if you haven't got a reasonably decent way to carry it around. Now, it's an Ontario sheath, obviously, and I can imagine some of you cringing now. Yeah, Ontario are certainly not renowned for providing particularly fabulous sheaths with their knives, and yeah, look, it's a nylon sheath. It's probably not the greatest nylon in the world. It's probably not the worst either. The back of the sheath, fully moly compatible, as you can see there. So, not that you'd ever mount something this large upside down. You can mount your belt through the moly webbing if you wish to raise the knife up. There's also an integral belt loop there, which is what you'd more likely use. The retention on this, I should mention, it's got a plastic insert. A little bit different to many of the Ontario sheaths in that it's not actually retained by any cordage down here. Quite often, certainly on the SP43 sheath, we'll roll that back in, that little bit of cord there in fact originally retained the insert before I glued it. Not so on this knife. It is in fact glued, not particularly well, but it's glued and it isn't moving, and the plastic insert doesn't retain at all. Am I worried about that? No, not particularly, because realistically this will be of it in a pack when I'm wandering around, or it'll be hanging on my belt, so it's not going to fall out. The thing I don't like is this retention strap up here, which is simply Velcro. I'm not a fan of just having Velcro. I don't mind if there's a combination of Velcro snap lock, but I don't really think that's particularly good. I've got some snap locks here, and I'm going to put a snap lock on there. I'll probably do a separate little video just showing how that's done. It's not difficult, but I might just do a little video on it anyway. Alright, so we've got our plastic insert. As mentioned, it is glued. You can probably just see there maybe. There's a little hint of glue. Where's my torch? It's here somewhere. Really disorganised today. Probably just, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little hint of glue there, so it is in fact stuck into the sheath. This knife comes with a pouch on the front. It's not too bad. Okay, it's got your normal sort of quick release clip. We open it up, and yeah, I've got a little bit of gear in there, not much. It's got this elastic across the top to keep the mouth of it closed so that you don't have things sliding out. All I've got in there at the moment is I've got a K-Bar Johnson Adventure piggyback knife, which is, I've got a few of these, and I have them in each one of these knives basically just so I don't forget about them, and that's kind of a little detail knife or whatever I might need it for. And the only other thing I've got in here, and again I've got a few of these in my knife kits, is like my Fire Scout model fire steel, Swedish fire steel. I like to just, on my biggest survival knives, they're set up so that if push comes to shove and for whatever reason, unlikely it is that I literally just have time to grab this and go, I don't just have the knife, I've also got that fire making capability, and whilst I always carry a bigger fire steel, I've then got that as a secondary fire lighting capability on my sheath, so I don't think that's too bad. And again, it weighs basically nothing to have that on your sheath, so that's okay. So overall, I don't mind the sheath. I'll fix that retention up, as I may do a video on it, but for what it is, and the price you're paying for these, you really can't complain too much, I don't think. So I'll put that back off to one side. Where are we on time? 9 minutes. Jeez, I'm going on. Cut this short. Alright, so we'll try and get to a conclusion here. The quality on the knife, like all the ones that I've handled so far, these is good. The finish seems to be nicely done. It's even. The grind's even. It's just well put together knife. It's nothing particularly fancy. It's not a collection star. It's not intended to be. It's a using knife. I think the value on these very good. In fact, I'd go so far as to say it's probably outstanding, to be honest. These knives you can pick up I can't remember what they're priced at, but certainly well under $100 US. Have a look on the net, you'll be able to track them down. Extremely good value knife, and you wouldn't go too far wrong. My conclusion is it's a good knife. It is a little heavy and possibly a little large for some applications. If that sounds like it might be a problem for you, I can strongly recommend scaling back a little bit and having a look at the SP50, which I think is an absolutely excellent knife. It's lighter weight, easy to carry, etc. But either one of these, you wouldn't go too far wrong, and I can certainly recommend they're worth a look if you're looking for a survival knife and don't want to spend a fortune on them. Alright guys, I'll try and wind up there. Thanks very much for watching and all your support of the channel. Much appreciated. Take care out there, and talk to you next time. Bye for now.